Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. So coming out of the holidays, a lot of us, maybe we haven't been eating a particularly perfect diet, let's just put it lightly. You may be eating things you're not accustomed to, eating them in amounts you're not, maybe you shouldn't have. So unfortunately, one of the things that happens sometimes is the C word, constipation. Dun, dun, dun. Being constipated sucks. It's really shitty. No one wants to experience that, but we all experience it at one point or another. And it's oddly particularly common among competitors. I've dieted so many times in the past, and I could be in the off season, my digestion is great, then I start dieting, and I'm getting closer and closer to a contest, and I can't go to the bathroom. I don't know the exact reason for it. It could be due to maybe an overall reduction in carbohydrate intake. Maybe some instances it has something to do with fiber intake, although, I keep my vegetables plenty high when I diet, but it happens. It happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me, and if you're watching, it's probably happened to you. And no one wants to be there. It sucks. So here's a few things that you might find helpful for either preventing constipation or helping to solve it if you've unfortunately already are experiencing it. So I'm gonna talk about some foods, some tricks. One of my favorite tricks, let's start with this. It's a grapefruit. I'm not advocating that you eat the grapefruit. Chances are you've never heard of this before. I read this in a book years ago, and I was getting ready for a show. I was maybe 3-4 weeks out, and I just was not going to the bathroom. I tried this and it worked. What did I do? You cut up the grapefruit, you remove the rind from it, right? Unfortunately, get rid of the fruit or give it to somebody in your house who will eat it. And you boil the rind, right? So for one grapefruit rind, maybe you boil it in, let's say 12 ounces of water, right? Some of it's gonna cook down. You then take that, after it's been boiling, put the lid on it, boil it for maybe half an hour, take the lid off, take the rinds out, drink the juice. Right? It's very bitter. How does it work? It actually increases what's called peristalsis, right? So peristalsis is your colon has these contractions that move in a wave-like way to basically, not to sound gross, but to move your shit along, right? So sometimes those contractions, that process slows down. The grapefruit trick speeds it up, and it works. Absolutely works. And the great thing about it is just boiling the rinds, let's call it calorie free, right? You've removed the fruit, so it's diet friendly, it works. Another trick is papaya. Now, depending on what your diet looks like, all right, there's some calories involved. Why does papaya work? Well, first of all, there's a certain amount of fiber in it, right? But also it's loaded with the enzyme PAPAYA. I've used this before, and there were times where I was on a kick, eating it regularly, and my bowel movements were impeccable, right? So one of the things that's lucky is the fact that papaya is very low overall in sugar, right? And of the sugar it does contain, a very small amount of it is fructose. So it's something that if you were dieting, as long as there are carbohydrates in your diet, you probably could swap out a certain amount of it for some fresh papaya. Fresh papaya, right? It can't be frozen. It can't be, I don't know, some dried papaya, blah, 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 because one of the main reasons you're consuming it is for the enzymes. So for the enzymes to be alive and kicking and working, you want it to be fresh. Another trick, beets. Beets work extremely well for helping you to go to the bathroom. You could use beet juice. Now, you're getting into kind of a more concentrated source of sugar, but it absolutely works. Don't be alarmed if you see some red in your stool. You're not internally hemorrhaging and dying. It's just the pigment from the beets. Beets are one of the best things you could consume for liver health, and there's definitely a link between liver health and your bowel movements. And basically anything that will increase bile output will generally help you go to the bathroom. Coffee, everybody knows this, right? Sometimes I drink coffee, I don't drink a ton of it, but yeah. Now, a lot of people will say coffee's gonna make you go to the bathroom because of the caffeine in it, you know, and it makes your insides, you know, go crazy, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's entirely true, because even if you wake up in the morning and, now, before I forget, when you wake up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I do, I drink like a full 1.5 liter bottle of water. Of course, one of the most fundamental things to preventing constipation is avoiding dehydration. You want to make sure that you are plenty well hydrated. And one of the best times to hydrate is when you're on an empty stomach. And one of the most important times to hydrate is first thing in the morning, because you haven't had anything to drink all night long. So I think first thing you do, especially before eating, you should get up, drink a bottle of water. I take it in the shower with me, right? I pretty much drink while I'm in the shower and, you know, brush my teeth, get ready, put on my deodorant. And by the time I go downstairs to have my first meal, the whole thing is gone. You will definitely hydrate most efficiently when you're not eating along with food, right? Think about it. You're on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. Only thing you're putting in your body is water. It can get absorbed and go where it needs to go most efficiently, right? Without having to separate food from the equation and all that. So hydrate always first thing in the morning and other times throughout the day when you're on an empty stomach. But getting back to coffee, my point was, I think a lot of times having something hot, especially when you're on an empty stomach, helps you to go to the bathroom. If you woke up in the morning, you just drink hot water, that might help, right? Squeezing a little bit of lemon in it helps. If you drink plain black tea, even if it was decaffeinated, I bet you that would help. Just hot fluid in general is beneficial. It's like, you know, you've got, you know, stuff going on in your body. Adding hot water helps to break things up. Like think about a sink full of dishes. You got dishes and it's got, you know, food on it or whatever. You wouldn't attempt to wash it with cold water. If you've ever tried that, obviously you know it doesn't work well. When you use hot water, it breaks things up, right? And it allows things to separate and get things moving. So hot water, you know, if you don't like coffee, you can use tea. If you're sensitive to caffeine and stimulants, drink decaf. I bet you just that will help. Ginger, this is a great one. Ginger is just used overall to help with digestion. Now I'll include it with, let's kind of put these two in the same category. This is fresh turmeric root. So one of the ways that I consume it is I will, using a grater, I will, you know, snap off a chunk of it and grate it into what I'm eating. But I like it best in rice. I'll grate a chunk of it like this, maybe one of these, right into my rice. It cooks, it gets all into it, and all the, you know, beneficial volatile oils from the ginger as well as from the turmeric. It's great for your digestion, it's great for your liver, and it's great for helping to move things along. So the inclusion of things like this in your diet is definitely a good idea. And further, they taste great, right? And they're calorie free. So it's a win all around. If you're having trouble going to the bathroom, there's a good chance you may be deficient in magnesium, right? A lot of people are magnesium deficient to begin with. There's a lot of us underconsume it. It's not present in massive amounts in our diets. And there's things that happen in daily life where magnesium gets depleted. So the inclusion of a magnesium is a good idea. However, right, there's different forms of magnesium. Magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate. This one is a chelated magnesium, right? So it's bound to an amino acid. Why is that important? It increases the absorption of it. You don't want to use just something like magnesium oxide it will help you go to the bathroom, right? And the way it's gonna help you go to the bathroom is you're gonna consume it, and it's just gonna draw a whole bunch of water into your intestines and make you shit yourself. So probably the better way to do it is to use a chelated magnesium, which you'll absorb more of the magnesium, but you still will get the benefit, okay, of helping you go to the bathroom. Greens, right? Always you want to be including plenty of green vegetables in your diet, especially leafy greens. A lot of us don't do it. A lot of people hate eating their veggies. If you're not going to eat them, use a good greens product, right? Animal Greens is a spectacular green supplement. Even if you do eat quite a bit of greens, I would still include it in your diet. I eat plenty of vegetables every day. There's not a meal that I consume without vegetables, right? Every meal for me looks like, at the very minimum, a protein source and a vegetable source. From there, the proteins or the fats are what is variable, but protein and veggies is a part of every single meal that I eat. Vegetables, highly important. You should be consuming them with every meal. It will help you go to the bathroom, but definitely consider adding a green supplement to your diet. So these are just kind of a few of the tools that I use. Obviously, outside of nutrition, staying active. I'm sure, if you're watching this video, you're in the gym, maybe you're doing cardio. I'm sure you're plenty active. You know what's an odd one? Do some abs. Doing abs helps, right? All that contraction in your midsection could help you go to the bathroom as well, if you're not someone who trains their abs regularly. So that's all I got. I hope you found this helpful. I get it, it's a shitty subject, but it happens to all of us. Hopefully some of this helps, and until next time, I'll see you guys.